Hey, what's up? Episode 2. This is the one I was super excited about, and I'm like long-term excited, short-term stressed. So I'm long-term excited because we're going to Duluth to work on a brand new Cirrus SR22. We're gonna do paint correction and coating, and I'm working with Gary Black, who's the regional sales director for Cirrus. And I've been trying to show him what our process and products can do for a while. So really exciting opportunity. I get to travel, go someplace I haven't been before, and I really like working on Cirrus aircraft. So excited about all that. But Duluth is like a 7-8 hour drive from here, which is fine, but I'm gonna fly there, and I'm gonna fly myself because I'm a pilot. So that's where the stress part comes in. Usually when I fly commercial, I'm stressed until I get through security, I'm at the gate, and by all indications, I'm going to make that flight. And if I don't make the flight, or if I don't make a layover, like, none of that is under my control. So I, don't worry about it. Now, everything is under my control because I have to pre-flight the plane, fuel the plane, make a go, no-go decision based on the weather. And looking north, I'm just seeing a lot of clouds build up. It's been hot and humid all day, so I'm worrying about thunderstorms popping up. The cool thing with thunderstorms is you can see them, you can fly around them, or there are plenty of airports you can stop and land at. So from a safety point of view, I'm not worried about that. It's more a schedule point of view, just decisions that need to be made that take up mental capacity. But we're gonna save a lot of time flying there, and we're gonna save so much time, in fact, that we can stop in Anoka, deliver a little surprise for a very valued friend and client, and work on another airplane. So that's the calculus of flying yourself, is you can save a lot of time, but you got a little bit more worrying to do. So we'll be at the airport here really soon, and we'll do a pre-flight, get the plane loaded up, get it fueled up, and we'll point it north, see how far we can get. Airport coming up. Pay attention or you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it, you're gonna miss it. There it is. Right there, I shit you not. That's our runway. It is 8:30 and the Arrow has landed in Duluth right at sunset, actually. So that's pretty cool because I don't like flying at night. The plane I'm working on is over there. So we're just working on getting a golf cart or something to unload all that stuff out and get set up. The line guys at Monaco Air are amazing. They helped me unload all my stuff, that whole pile, out of the plane, and we got it next to the plane I'm working on. It wasn't a yellow and black plane. It has yellow and black stripes, but it's mostly yellow and silver. But that's it. It's a beautiful plane. It's going to look great by the time I'm done with it. Even though it's new, there's a few areas of improvement, or rather, there's a few things we can make easier, and there's a few things we can improve on. So there's a lot of bugs because we are in Duluth and basically surrounded by a swamp and a lake. So there's a lot of bugs on this plane, and a ceramic coating is going to make those come off a lot easier. The other thing is going to be exhaust and oil on the belly. So let's take a look at the belly and see that condition here. So not only will this accumulate somewhat less, it's actually going to come off with a water-based cleaner. So you don't have to use a degreaser and get on your back and spray degreaser up and have it all land in your face. So those are going to be two improvements in terms of maintenance. In terms of appearance, I'm going to switch the camera around and show you the paint. So it looks pretty good in terms of appearance, but there's always room for improvement. If we take a look under these fluorescent lights, everything looks pretty good. But if we turn on a spotlight, see those holograms? Let me get that back up there. So you see how that light is kind of dancing around. That light's too bright. Let's try this light. Yeah, so you can see how that's just not a clean reflection. Those are holograms, just kind of from the buffing process. And all of that is just hurting the shine ever so little. So we're gonna do a little test area, and I think it'll be easier to see the defects when you can see it without defects as well. Before, after. See the line right there? After. This morning I got to have a visit and a factory tour with my friend Gary at Cirrus. No cameras allowed in there, so sorry I can't take you with. And now we're gonna get started on this plane. I got it washed last night, or just a little bit washed, just to see what it looked like, and did a few test areas so I could show Gary this morning what a paint correction does and what the coating does. We're at an airport, so you're gonna hear a lot of planes. So we did a little test area on the wing, a little test area on the cowling there, and then now I'm going to start cleaning. There's a lot of oil and exhaust on the bottom that we're gonna get off first, and once we get that off, we're gonna start the paint correction, which is gonna just make this thing jewel like it's covered in glass. And then we're actually gonna cover it in ceramics, which is gonna kind of basically like glass, and it's gonna be a lot easier to clean. So stay tuned, this is gonna be a fun one. I travel with a creeper whenever I can for exactly this type of stuff. We're gonna start with the citrus dilution and see how little we can get away with. So this is like a 1 to 10 dilution for our citrus cleaner. And we'll kind of spray some on, let it sit, use a wet microfiber towel to wipe it off. You'll come to find I like doing half of things just to show the difference. So there's still a little bit of grease on this side, but overall this is like gross decon. So we're gonna get as much of it off as we can. If you look on the other side, so we'll just swing on over here. Yeah, buddy. So, step one on this belly is degrease, get the big stuff off. Now we're gonna go back and use a more water-based cleaner to get the soap off and get any remaining bits of oil off. Some of the concerns I have, the matte finish wrap that you see here, where it meets the exhaust, it was in really bad shape. So actually you can look up here. See how all that exhaust is in there. We can't polish that because if we polish it, it'll turn shiny, and we don't want that. So we're gonna try and chemically clean that as much as we can. And once it's coated, it's gonna be significantly more resistant to this kind of staining. So I wish we can do this at the factory before it has any flight time on it, because then this film will be protected. So we're underneath the wing here. This clear bra was peeling, and the customer just rather we take it all off. So I'm just gonna peel it off very slowly and see what it does. Well, that sucked. That clear bra wasn't ready to come off. Still got a lot of glue on there. I hope, let's go look and see. I really hope I brought glue and adhesive remover. Yes! Alright. And you want to let it soak for a little bit. Now, take hotel key and just gently scrape it off. And it'll kind of shave off in layers, like don't expect it to come off all at once. But then you just reapply and wait a little bit longer. We have a special treat out here today. A marvel of engineering and design, the Saber Liner. A rough one at that too. They call this the flying sewer pipe. The tops of the wings are actually polished aluminum, or not polished aluminum, they're bare aluminum. That can look like a mirror. That can legit look like a mirror with a lot of manpower and money. But yeah, look at that oxidation, staining. There's a big turboprop exhaust right there. So all that mess is coming out and staining the fuselage. So if the pilots let me, I'll do a little test spot on it and show you how that goes. Other than that, great day in Duluth. You see the sun back there. It's kind of blocked by smoke from the wildfires. Getting great progress on the Cirrus. Show you what we've done so far. I got the tops and bottoms of the right wing polished, left side wing tops polished. Let me just show you what these are looking like. Like that gloss is all before coating. The paint correction is what does that. What the coating does, it makes it easier to wash, it protects it from UV, and it also, it adds a little bit of gloss, but its main job is protection and ease of washing. The less scrubbing you have to do to keep this clean, the better that paint's gonna look. Haven't done the full cowling yet, but another thing I'm noticing is that the yellow is actually getting brighter. So there's some sort of, it's not really staining, it's more just pollution, I think, that's on that paint that doesn't wash off. So the paint correction is getting that off, and I tried to capture it on video. If you kind of go left, right, you can see that color difference. It's just brighter, it's more vibrant. So really excited to see how that's going to turn out, especially once it gets in the sunlight. I got to do the bottom of this wing, and then we're going to start on the fuselage, which is going to be an adventure in and of itself. Alright, got the bottom of the wing polished. It is now as shiny as the top of the wing. A lot shinier than any wing has any business being. Up next, we're going to do the fuselage, which has quite a bit of staining on it. But my headlamp, which is like my favorite tool in terms of speeding up things because I don't have to move lights around, my headlamp battery died because it's like an 8-hour workday type of tool, and that's just not what I do around here. So go get something to eat, and I need some masking tape, and I'll show you what we need the masking tape for once we get back. Well, that was a productive Walmart run. Remember how I said I forgot to charge my headlight, or ran out? I've been looking for that headlight at area Walmarts wherever I travel, and I can never find them because I think they're gonna stop selling them. They just haven't been in stock forever, except in Duluth, I found not only one, but 2 of them. So now I can extend my work days and not be dependent on the light. Let's go to the next challenge of this project. As you may have noticed, this airplane has stripes on it. These stripes are vinyl stripes, and they're actually matte finish, meaning they are not glossy. So in order to keep them not glossy, we need to not get the polisher on there. If we hit this with the polisher, it's gonna level that texture and they can turn glossy. That's why for this plane, if a detailer didn't know what they were doing and they just went to town with it, they can damage that vinyl. I've seen it done before on a Cirrus that had a carbon fiber textured vinyl, and someone waxed over it and basically ruined it because it turned white. I'm gonna start taping that off to protect it and kind of work in sections. I'm gonna work my way from back there up to the front with polishing. So I like to test constantly to make sure my process is effective and safe. I'll put down a tape line somewhere and kind of split a panel in half, especially if I know there's already defects there. And then I look and see if that particular combination of tool speed, polish, and pad are compatible with what I'm trying to accomplish. So here's one such test spot. You see that black line running up down right there? That's where the tape was. That's just a little bit of glue residue. So this side didn't get treated, this side did get treated. See how this side is a little bit lighter tint of silver? That's because of that kind of grimy pollution layer that's on the paint. So I took that off, which brightened the paint. But also look how the reflections here have those tails radiating off it. So that's those holograms we talked about. On this side, it's a clean reflection, and that's what we're looking for. See that color difference? So that line running, this side's being darker, that side's lighter. I had tape here, so I did paint correction on this side. Pulled out all the pollution, increased the gloss, and increased the brightness too. So those are pretty deep holograms. They're going to take a little bit more effort to get out, but again, working in such close proximity to the film, which we want this matte finish film to stay matte finish, we're going to have to do a fair amount of taping, and when you get tape on there, you just have to be more careful because you don't want the polisher to lift up a tape edge. Paint correction's done, and I started doing the final wipe down. The final wipe down takes out any polishing oils that could be concealing defects. So, big reason why this plane had all those defects is because the previous polishing oils were still in there. This is a pretty important step, and it's a pretty physical step because we're just scrubbing and rubbing and wiping and kind of doing it without breaks. So, especially when it's hot, this is a pretty sweaty part of the job. But you can see, basically at this point, what you see is what you get for gloss. Like the coating is going to add some gloss to it, but all of our hard work, paint correcting, that's where it's at. So this plane right now, this wing is wiped, the fuselage is wiped. This is all naked paint, so no coating involved yet. I just want to stress that the coating is not a magic product. A lot of sweat and skill goes into making the paint look the way it does. So not a lot of live filming of the coating just because you have to move pretty quick and pay pretty close attention to it. If you don't wipe it off right or you miss a spot, it's going to be curing and it's going to be harder to fix then. But you can see like that's starting to look pretty good. I just have the bottoms of the wings left. It's about 11 p.m. and originally I was planning on flying back tonight,
I don't think I'm gonna do that anymore just because it's 11 and I've been working all day, and flying at night while you're tired probably isn't the greatest idea. So we'll just finish this off and have a easy laid back night after that and get going in the morning. Done. Took about an hour. It's midnight now. Underside of the wings got coated. I'm gonna clean up my stuff, have the plane towed up a little bit closer, have my plane towed up a little bit closer to load it up, and still needs to fuel up, so I'll probably have them fuel that up now, and then I'm actually gonna take a break, get some sleep, and then leave tomorrow morning early to head over to Anoka and finish up some work there. And we're gonna get some beauty shots too of this thing. So it's spotless now, but when it gets dirty, that yellow solution up there, that's no rinse. A 1 to 20 dilution of that in a spray bottle. Just spray it on. And if we actually make some bigger ones, you can see how that's beading off. You don't need that much water, but just basically spray that on and just wipe it with a microfiber towel. That's all it needs. If you have a lot of bugs, don't scrub it. Just kind of let them soak and do multiple light passes. That should get them right off. So it's like 3 or 4 in the morning, I don't know. There's a Gulf Stream that just landed there. I'm gonna get the plane loaded up and start heading out. In-flight peanuts. However, it's quiet, thus we're on the ground. That Gulf Stream we saw earlier, they were trying to go to International Falls, which is north of here, and it was completely fogged out, so they had to land here, get fuel. So, like, check the weather, like you should, and even though we're fine here, the dew point, the point at which water, the temperature at which water turns to fog, or the humidity in the air rather turns to fog, is about 2 degrees below the temperature here, which is why it's clear here. In Minneapolis, where I'm going, it's foggy, and that dew point spread is 0. So every degree that temperature goes down, it's gonna get foggier. So we just have to wait for it to warm up a little bit. Once the sun comes up, it'll start burning off that fog, and we can resume our travels. Till then, I'll finish the peanuts and take a nap. So I took another nap, had some coffee at the FBO, and it looks like the fog has burned off pretty well along our route. So I'm gonna get the cockpit ready here, and we'll be departing soon. So we got a special surprise for Chad, who operates Malibu Aerospace here. Chad's been a big advocate of getting airplanes coated and has sent a lot of business our way, so I got him something here. And I think he's gonna flip out. Check this out. This is an exact reproduction of Chad's previous plane. And this was actually the first plane that we coated. And this plane has gotten me a lot of business because people saw this plane that had original factory paint from the 80s and it looked better than new planes. Like, the detail's amazing. Like, look at that. It's got all the antennas up there. This line, you see how that white line stops? I actually had to go look on the photos I submitted, and sure enough, on the real thing, that line stops. I didn't know. It's got the company logo on the tail too. Very happy. Comes with a nice stand. So we're gonna maybe set this up somewhere and have them come out and look at it. But it looks amazing. I kind of don't want to give it away. You should swing by the shop when you have a minute, Kama. I got something for you.
Okay, I'll send this.
All right, so I got my plane inside. This car, we are trying something new on here. This is a courtesy car, pretty dirty one at that. So we're gonna just wipe it and coat it. So we're gonna wash it, obviously, make sure the surface is clean, but we're not gonna do a paint correction on that. And we're gonna do a windshield coating on there. We're gonna do windshield coating on the tug back there. And then this plane I started a few weeks ago. It's for sale, if anyone's interested. The paint just could use some freshening up, so we're doing a paint correction on here just to give it a little bit more gloss. You know, I got some footage from when I was here last that shows you the difference a paint correction makes relative to a detailing or like a wax job. Overall, you got about a full day here. So we're gonna start on the car first, and we're gonna no rinse wash it because we don't want to make a huge mess. And it's actually not that dirty. We're not doing a paint correction, so we really just want to get all the abrasive stuff off before we start alcohol wiping it. I'm gonna fill a bucket with about 2 gallons of water. Add 2 capfuls of no rinse, so 1 ounce of no rinse, and you'll see how we can wash the car with that. We won't even use the 2 gallons. This is Chad.
Hi.
Guy we talked about.
I brought lunch.
We like him. This is the Chad that we got that surprise for.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Very cool.
Chad brought lunch. I brought a model airplane. Good time was had by all, but now it's back to work. This is done. Windshield coated, paint's coated. The tug back there, I'm not gonna walk all the way up there. We coated the glass on that as well, just to see what would happen. Now I'm gonna finish polishing this old plane and knock some oxidation off it. All right, we're done with this deox process. Kind of like that, deox. We'll call that, this polishing, deox. So deoxidization. The aircraft is whiter and brighter and shinier. So those are all good things. We're not coating this plane, so we are actually done here. I did want to show you the interior that I worked on a few weeks ago. I should have some footage from that, but here's how it looks now. And let's take a look at the seats. A little dark in here, but I'll get some before and afters. I'm pretty sure I took some video of this. And the carpet. So we gave this plane a nice little turnaround. It should make it easier to sell in theory. You could probably assign a higher list value to it as well, because the association that does aircraft pricing, the NAAA, they actually look at paint gloss as a factor, so it can help raise or lower the price depending on the condition. I'm going to pack up the plane, open the big hangar door, and boogie on out of here. Plane's outside, we got enough fuel, so we're gonna get the cockpit ready and we'll be taking off, going to celebrate a very good friend's surprise birthday party. His 30th birthday party nonetheless. Say, this was a productive weekend. It was a long weekend, it was a productive weekend. So I saved 16 hours of driving by flying, and was able to get more work done here in a completely different city than Duluth, thanks to flying. So that's how that calculus works out. Clear for takeoff, 36 Tango. Airspeed is live. Gear up.